Hello all, welcome to my channel. Today I will demonstrate you how to use the fingerprint sensor to authenticate our own application. So let's start developing Android Studio project. First of all, you can click on start new Android Studio project. Then you can choose on empty activity. Then you can provide the name of your application. Here I am just giving the name of my application is fingerprint demo. Then you can choose the language that whatever you want to choose. I'm just choosing the Kotlin. Then you can click on finish. To validate the fingerprint authentication, we need basically keyguard manager and fingerprint manager. So first of all, I'm just taking one variable over here, that is variable fm colon fingerprint manager. You can add it late initialize, right? Then I need one more variable over here, and that is variable keyguard manager. So I'm just taking here keyguard manager. You can also add the late initializer modifier over here. Now we want to initialize both this manager. One is that is keyguard manager, and another one is the fingerprint manager. So what I'm doing here, km is equal to, here you can call get system service, and here you can just pass that is keyguard service. You can just cast it as keyguard manager. Now I want to initialize the fingerprint manager. So I'm just taking here fm is equal to get system service again. Now I'm taking here fingerprint service, and again you can cast, but now it is fingerprint manager. Once the initialization of both fingerprint manager and keyguard manager is done, now I want to check that is lock screen security is enabled in the settings or not. If you want to check like this, you can just call here if not keyguard manager dot is keyguard secured. If keyguard secure is there, then you can just print the message that. If it is not, then you can just print the message that in current context, that is application context, or you can just pass this. You can just press the print the message lock screen security not enabled in settings. So first of all, we need to enable the lock screen fingerprint security over there, right? So I'm just checking the things over here. Toast dot length underscore long, and you can just call dot show. Not only this, we need to check also that is fingerprint is enrolled in the system or not. So you can just call over here if not fingerprint manager dot has enrolled fingerprints. If a fingerprint is not enrolled, then I want to just make one message over here, that is toast dot make text in current context that register at least one fingerprint in settings. And here you can press the message that is for how much duration you want to show this message. So I'm just calling toast dot length underscore long dot show. Here we need to check for the permission first. So I am just moving to manifest file. Here in manifest file, we just need to add the permission, uses permission, and that is use fingerprint. Once you add the permission over here, now your error will be removed. Now, not only this, if this is not done, you can simply return the cursor over here. If it is not done, you can simply return the cursor over here. Now we want to check for the permission also. So I am just checking for the permission. If activity compact dot check for the self permission, here you can just check if activity compact dot check self permission, here you just need to provide the two argument. One is the context and another one is the permission. I'm just checking over here manifest dot permission dot, and that is for our use fingerprint, right? So you can just here use the fingerprint. If this permission is not granted, so you here you can just check package manager dot permission granted. If this permission is not granted, not equal to granted, then request for the permission. So I'm just requesting it activity compact dot request permission. In current context, here you can just call array of variable number of arguments of permission. I'm just passing here manifest dot permission dot, that is use fingerprint. Now here you can pass your request code. I'm just passing the request code, that is 111. Here you can override the method that is on request permission result. If request code equal 111 and grant results of 0 equal package manager dot permission granted. If this permission is granted, then what you want to do? If permission is granted, then I want to validate the fingerprint. So I'm just calling the function validate fingerprint, right? So I just need to create the function over here. So I'm just creating the function that is validate fingerprint. If this permission is already granted, then also I want to just call the function that is validate fingerprint. Here in validate fingerprint, first task is what? In validate fingerprint, first task is we need to check for the key, that is we need to generate the key first. So I'm just initializing the first variable over here in top, and that is related to key now. So I'm just declaring one variable over here, variable key store of type, that is key store, right? Key store of key store. Once it is done, you can call just add late initialize variable. Now I want to initialize one more variable over here, that is key generator of type, that is key generator, right? Again you can just add late initializer variable. Now once your key generator is done, crypto.key generator is done, key store that is related to our key, that is from the android.security. Once our key store that is related to java.security.keystore and our key generator that is from crypto, right? Once the both variable is declared, now we also need a key name. So I'm just passing one variable over here, that is variable key name is equal to, here you can pass any key. I'm just passing the my key. Now it's a time to generate the key first. So I'm just generating the key, generate the key. Once you call the validate function, we need to generate the key. So I'm just calling over here in try catch. Here you can call the catch, that is e colon exception. Now inside this we need to generate the key. So I'm just calling the initializing my variable key store is equal to, you can just call key store dot get instance, in which you just need to pass the key store. So I'm just passing here value, that is android key store. Once your key store is initialized, now we need to generate the key. So I'm just initializing my key generator variable. Key generator is equal to, you can just call key generator dot get instance. Here we need to pass the algorithmic value. So I'm just passing over here, that is key properties dot, here you can pass, that is key algorithm AES, right? So this is the encryption algorithm that I am passing over here in get instance. Here you can just provide the last argument, that is provider. I'm just passing the provider, that is android key store. Now, once your key store is generated, key generator is generated, now it's a time to load our key store. So I'm just simply calling key store dot load, and right now I'm just passing the null. Then later on we will provide the parameter over here. Now I am just calling the key generator dot, you can call the initializer. Here we need to provide the argument that is related to parameters. So I'm just providing the parameter that is key generator parameter. Key generator parameter specification is the class. Here you can just call key generator parameter dot builder. Here you need to provide the name of your key. So I'm just providing the name of key, that is my variable name that I declared earlier as a global variable. Then you need to provide the, then we need to provide the key properties. So I'm just providing here key properties dot, you can just call purpose, your what is the purpose of encryption. So I'm just calling the key properties dot purpose encrypt, or you can mention or key properties dot purpose, that is decrypt, right? Once your purpose is initialized over here, that is in key generator. Now once your key generator value is done, now you can call dot set, dot set, you can set the block mode. So I'm just providing the block mode value, that is key properties dot block mode, that is a CBC, that is related to our block mode. Once our block mode is done, we need to set dot set user authentication. Here in user authentication required, we can just pass the true, yes, user authentication is required. Then once user authentication is done, you can set encryption padding. I'm just setting the encryption paddings, that value is key properties dot encryption padding value, that is I am providing over here pkcs7. Once it is done, you can just call dot build function, and then our initializer of key generator is done. Once our key generator is done, now it's a time to check for the cipher text, that is for the our encryption algorithm. So we need to initialize our cipher. So I am just initializing the cryptography. Initialization of cryptography. Now here I'm just calling one function over here, that is if init cipher is there. Definitely this function is not created over here, so you can just press alt or enter over here and create the function. This function will return the boolean value. So if it is done, then I'm calling this function. Right now I'm just writing the try catch block inside the init cipher function. So you can just call e colon exception over here. Now in init cipher, we need to check for what? We definitely need to define the variable related to cipher. So I'm just moving to my upper up on create. Now it's a time to define the variable related to cryptography, that is related to cipher. So I'm just defining one variable, that is a cipher colon, that is of data type, that is a cipher, right? Definitely we will initialize late. Now we need one more variable over here, that is related to crypto object. So I'm just declaring one variable crypto object of type, that is fingerprint manager dot crypto object is the class. Here you can just click on add a late init modifier. Now we need to deal with the crypto, our declared variable, that is cipher and crypto object. So I'm just initializing the cipher over here. Cipher is equal to, you can just call cipher dot get instance. Here we need to provide the algorithm value. So I'm just providing the key properties dot which algorithm that you want to use. I want to use the key algorithm AES plus, here you can concatenate using the slash, and I want plus, that is key properties dot, now you can add the block mode CBC, then I want to add the slash, and you can add one more thing that is related to key properties dot, now we want to define the encryption padding PKCS7. Once your cipher value is initialized, now it's a time to load our key store value. So I'm just doing what over here say, here you can just write one more try catch over here, that is try, here you can add catch, again e exception, and now it's a time to load our key store. So I'm just calling a key store dot, you can call load, and you can just pass null value right now. Once it is done, now it's a time to define the key. So I'm just taking one variable over here, that is val key is equal to, you can just call key store dot get key. Here in get key you just need to provide the name of the key, that key name already we declared earlier, so I'm just passing here value, that is key name. Then you need to provide the second argument, that is password. Right now I'm not defining any password, that is null, as you can initialize as a secret key. Now once your secret key is initialized, now we will add it with the our cipher. So I'm just doing what, cipher dot initialized. Here in cipher dot initialize we need to provide the encryption mode and the key. So I'm just providing here cipher dot, that is encryption mode, that is encrypt mode, and our key that already we defined the secret key. So I'm generating the cipher text. If it is generated, then you can just simply return true, and here in catch you can simply return false if it is not generated the key. So here you can just if cipher is not initialized, then you can simply return the false over here if it is required, or you can simply write the return statement with the true or false value. It is not required, why? Because I am writing here return false or return true. Now if init cipher is done, then we will simply initialize our cipher dot, I'm just initializing the my crypto object. So you can simply write here crypto object is equal to our fingerprint manager dot crypto object fingerprint manager dot crypto object, and here you can just pass value, that is it, right? Once our initialization of the cryptography is done, init cipher is done, everything is done, now we are ready with all these things that we defined in the main activity. But we need to call our fingerprint related class, and we need to define definitely one class, that is fingerprint helper, and that class we need to call from our, that is after this we need to call the helper class. So definitely we need to create one helper class over here, and that we need to initialize over here. I'm just calling what, see, variable helper is equal to, you can simply call fingerprint helper of this, but this type of class is not there, so I need to create the class. So I'm just right click on this Java package, here you can right click new, you can add the Kotlin file. I'm just adding the Kotlin file, that name is fingerprint helper. So here you can simply add the class, that is fingerprint helper. Now you can create the same class which extends from, you need to create the class which extends from fingerprint manager dot authentication callback. Simply you can call the constructor of that particular class. Then we need to pass I want to create one context variable over here. So I'm just declaring one variable over here, that is context of type context. Now we need to override the some method over here. So here you can override the methods of this. I'm just overriding the method that is start. Yes, you can click on generate overridden methods, and you can add the overridden methods, that is error, succeeded, failed, and help. So you can override this four method, that is on authentication error, on authentication succeeded, on authentication help, and on authentication failed. Now once initialization of all this method is done, we need to declare one variable over here that is related to cancellation signal. So I'm just creating declaring one variable over here, that is variable cancellation signal of type cancellation signal. Definitely we will add the late initialize modifier over here. Now I'm just declaring one function, that is function. You can call the start auth. Now here in start authentication function, you can define manager variable. I'm just declaring one variable over here, that is manager of fingerprint manager. We also need not only fingerprint manager, we need the crypto object. So I'm just declaring one variable, that is crypto object of type, that is fingerprint manager dot crypto object. Now here in start auth function, I'm just initializing my cancellation signal variable. So I'm just doing what, cancellation signal is equal to, you can just call the constructor of cancellation signal. Now here you can check for the permission. If activity compact dot check for the self permission in current context. So I'm just passing here context. This is the variable that is available over here in our class. So I'm just doing what, if activity compact dot check self permission, our variable that is context. Here you can declare your variable private val. Now you can try to access your variable context. Now we need to provide the permission. So I'm just passing here manifest dot permission dot. Here you can check for the permission, that is use fingerprint, right? If this permission is not granted, so I'm just checking not equal to package manager dot permission granted. If this is not granted, then we will simply return our cursor, right? If it is granted, then I'm just calling manager dot authentication function, that is dot authenticate. Here we need to provide the crypto object is the first argument. Then here in cancellation signal, I'm just passing the variable cancellation signal. Here in flag, you can pass the value. I'm just providing the 0 over here. If you want to provide the callback, obviously current instance, and here you can pass the handler. I'm not handling anything, so I'm just passing the value, that is null. Once it is done, now we need to write the code in every authentication function. What you want to do if on authentication error. So I'm just providing one message to the user, that toast dot make text in current context message is. Here you can simply pass the message, that is it is authentication error. Here you can just call toast dot length underscore long dot show. You can simply copy the statement, and if on succeed, then you can simply pass the message, that is authentication succeeded, or you can say authentication success, right? Now on authentication help, you can simply pass the message, that toast, that is it is related to authentication help. Here you can pass the message, that is authentication help. Here in authentication failed, you can simply pass the message that is authentication failed. Authentication failed is run when the biometric is not matched, fingerprint is not matched, and authentication succeeded will run whenever the authentication is done, if the biometric is finally done. Here now you can just call see fingerprint helper and your context, that is this. Now using this helper class you can call the your function, that is a start authentication function. So simply you can call over here if fingerprint manager not equal to null and crypto object, that is we declared earlier, not equal to null. If this both are not null, it means something is there, then we will simply call helper dot start authentication function that we just created over here, start authentication function, that I'm calling from this context. So start authentication, and you can just simply pass variable of your fingerprint manager, and you can pass your crypto object. Once this is done, now what we did in fingerprint helper, in fingerprint helper, if authentication, it means the if fingerprint is matched, then authentication succeeded function will be called, and if fingerprint is not matched, then authentication failed will be called. Whenever authentication is a success, I want to move user from one screen to another screen. So I want to take one more activity over here. So you can simply take one activity, new activity, and then you can just take empty activity. I'm just giving the name of this activity, that is related to Atmiya activity. I want to launch this activity whenever, see, configuration is successful. I want to launch this activity, Atmiya activity, whenever the fingerprint is matches. So here in Atmiya activity, I want to define some design over here. So I'm just click on show layout decoration. Then you can add one text view over here in middle. You can just click on infer constraint, then you can move to text view. Here in text you can simply write the text, that is welcome to Atmiya University. Now here you can press slash n, here you can press slash n. Now you can add the text color, definitely primary dark, text style bold, text size for example 40 sp. Then you can set the property, that is gravity center. So what happens, see, welcome to Atmiya University is the screen that is available in my Atmiya activity. I want to launch this activity whenever the fingerprint is matched. So what I am doing, see, here whenever our authentication, that is in fingerprint helper, authentication is succeeded, here you can simply start the new activity, start activity, but using a context we need to call it context dot start activity. Here you can simply call intent in current context and go to, that is Atmiya activity class dot java. So definitely if the fingerprint is matched, it will launch the another screen. Here in main activity I want to take one image view, and I want to pass some message over here, touch the sensor. So here you can remove this text view, and here you can take the image view over here. Before taking the image view, I want to copy the image of a fingerprint into my drawable folder. So here you can take your image. My image is available in my download. This is IC fingerprint. You can just copy this. You can move to your Android Studio project, resource, drawable, and here you can just paste your fingerprint image, that is IC underscore fingerprint. And now here you can add the image view inside your main activity, and here now you can add your fingerprint value that is related to this image, and you can click on infer constraint. What happens, see, this is the image related to fingerprint. Now I want to take one more text view in bottom of this image view, and here again you can click on infer constraint, and now here in this text view I want to pass the message, that is touch the sensor to start new, or you can say touch the sensor. That's it, right? Sensor is available in back side of the actual phone, and in emulator it is available in extended controls. So I'm just initializing here text size, that is 40 sp. Then you can pass text style, for example bold. Now sensor, you can execute this application. Whenever you execute this application, you should know that where is the sensor available in emulator and where is the sensor available in your actual phone. So in actual phone, sensor is available in backside of your phone, and before running this application you need to enroll at least your one finger. So let me execute this my application. Whenever you execute your application in your emulator, what happened, you can see over here. See, Gradle build is running on. See, our activity is launched now, and you can see that, see, lock screen security is not enabled. Lock screen security is not enabled in which type of situation this message is coming. That is, a lock screen security is not enabled in the setting if keyguard secure is not there, right? So what we need to do, very simple. Here you can move to your settings. Here in settings you need to move to security and location. In actual phone also you can do the same. Then you can click on the fingerprint, then you can click on next. Now you need to enroll the finger at least one, so I'm just clicking on fingerprint plus pattern. Then it is asking for the secure startup, you can click on yes. Now it will ask for the pattern. I'm just drawing one line, straight line, at least 4 dots. Okay, so let me connect one more, and then you can click on next. You need to draw your pattern again, confirm. Now you can click on done. You can touch the sensor, it is asking for this, you can skip this. Now what happens, see, let me execute my application again. I did my fingerprint, but what is it is asking, see, register at least one finger. Fingerprint is enabled in my security, but I need to register at least one fingerprint. So here you can add your fingerprint in your emulator. In emulator you need to click on the fingerprint, then you can click on the touch the sensor to enroll the finger. But how to enroll the finger? Whenever you want to enroll the finger in your actual phone or emulator, you just need to go to your settings. Here in settings you can move to your security and location, then you need to go to fingerprint, then you can click on next, then you need to draw the pattern, then you need to click on the touch the sensor that is available on back side of your phone if it is supported, right? But if you are using the emulator, then it is available over here in extended control, that is fingerprint. You can click on touch the sensor, you can click again touch the sensor, you can click touch the sensor. See, your fingerprint one, that is one finger is registered. Here you can click on fingerprint and you can check. See, this is my pattern, you can check. See, one finger is enrolled, finger one. Now how can we check that our finger is working properly or not? So you can run your application again. Now in my current application, you can just test your application in emulator. See what happened. Yes, now error is coming over here, and that is related to our key generator dot key is not generated yet. So here in validate fingerprint, we just need to call the function that is key generator dot generate key. Now you can execute your application again. Now you can just check. Whenever you execute your application, you can just check. See, it is calling for the touch the sensor. Now you can click on this triple dot. Fingerprint is already enrolled over here. Now you can click on touch the sensor, but I'm not touching the sensor with the fingerprint one, I'm using the fingerprint 2. and then you can click on touch the sensor. See, authentication is failed because I had not enrolled the fingerprint number 2. But if you click on fingerprint 1 and you can click on touch the sensor, what happens? See, welcome to Atmi University and authentication success. Now suppose if you execute this application again, uh, see, let me execute this application again. Whenever you execute this application and if you click on fingerprint number 2 and if you click on this, the authentication is failed. Suppose if you think that I want to enroll this finger number 2, then you can simply add this. You can just move to your settings, then you just need to move to security and locations, then here you can click on fingerprint. Definitely you need to provide your pattern. You can click on add fingerprint over here. See, now you need to click on which finger you want to enroll. I want to add the fingerprint number 2, and then you can click on the touch the sensor. See, finger is enrolled now. Once it is done, now you can move to your application. So this is my application, that is fingerprint. And now see, if you are executing this application in your actual phone, then you need to touch on the back side of your phone, that is sensor is available there, right? So you can just click over here. Now I want to fingerprint number 3. See, authentication is failed now. Now you can check from any finger, that is 1 or 2. You can click on touch the sensor. See what happened. Welcome to Atmi University. So this is the way you can implement fingerprint authentication in your application. If fingerprint is matched, then you can move to another activity. If not matched, then you will not allowed to access this. There's that kind of message you can pass to the user. So this is the way you can implement fingerprint authentication in your application. That's it from my side. If you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all.